So I don't know what you read in the title what this video is about, but I don't like doing clickbait, so that's probably what it's about. I'm really frustrated right now because of what's been going on and the comment section in some of these videos that are talking about the college campuses and the whole Supreme Court thing where they overruled and said the college campuses could no longer provide this sort of equal opportunity affirmative action thing that they had going on for certain students of minority groups to participate in. And then you have this other thing where the Wall Street Journal had reported that it had negatively affected many of the minorities. They picked less lucrative majors. They were less likely to go on to graduate school, less lucrative opportunities for graduate school, maybe necessarily. And that's a less lucrative position in the job market as well. But this initially, when I learned it about it in college or my public school, was they got together. I think it was college though. They got together and said they're not getting this equal opportunity in the job marketplace, so let's do this. We don't have diversity on our campus. Let's do this and be more progressive, I guess you could say. And it wasn't even necessarily possibly a huge percentage. And the individual that had ignited this had still gotten into other Ivy League schools, but they didn't get into Harvard. So they threw a little hissy fit tantrum, as it may be. I don't know how you would word it. But it's really frustrating to see the divide lines amongst blacks and whites. In the comment section, to see blacks lacking empathy for whites who disagree with it, whites lacking empathy for blacks who disagree with it, disagree with blacks on affirmative action or what have you. And so that is really upsetting. What was my next thought? Because I was on a train of thought, and this video got interrupted by an emergency alert. But I had to start over. But anyway, the next thought was the content of their character. The content of their character versus the color of their skin. I was thinking, was that taken out of context? Heck, you've got this taken, you're going to take it out of context because so many people are throwing that back at you, not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character or something. But that is exactly what someone in my position would say. Oh, this is what affirmative action is. This is what affirmative action is doing. It's providing opportunity for the content of their character. They're good people that are not going to be, say no to for the content of their character. You're like, well, why would you want to work somewhere that was going to say no to you anyway? Well, if all the places that are going to say no to you were paying $60,000, $70,000 a year, and the only reason why they said yes to you was because of that, and the only job that would have been willing to say yes to you paid $30,000, $40,000 less, that's a big difference. You're like, oh, just work your way up there. And maybe in 10, 20 more years, get to $50,000, while at the other company, you could have been much higher. So that is a very big difference. Very huge. And then you still have people that will still say that even on that $70,000, this is where also the lines get, no, you should still stay there and still go to that $40,000, $30,000 company and work your way up 20 years there, even though at the other company or companies, that line of job prospecting, you could get to $200,000 a year in 10, 20 years. It would be completely different, but that is the mindset for someone, because it doesn't affect them maybe. And so if you're thinking that to somebody else and you say that to someone, are you willing to say that for yourself is something that you could say to them, but are you willing to say that to someone else? Oh, well, are you going to say that to someone else? If you're black, you're going to say, don't work for them if they're not going to pay you right. Take a 50% pay cut and not think of it like yourself. And then it's probably easier to do if it's a complete stranger, someone you don't care about. And it's hard to say it that way, but it's like the only way you could really think that, for me, is you could only really think that is if you really cared less about this individual to tell them to take that big of a pay cut because the employer wouldn't consider them anyway. Um, so basically, darn it, my other thought, and it was a really good thought, but in these lines, the ideologies that start coming across, what it really looks like, and I saw this first in the Twitter feeds with, I mean, I dare say it, I'll say it. I mean, it's unfortunate because there's a lot of black people that are against this person as well. So even if you are, it's just to illustrate my point, not to say if you're for or against. But if you see like Meghan Markle comments, stuff that has nothing to do with anything on Twitter, some of it's like, okay, that just sounds like, what is that? It comes across as potentially racist, or maybe they do even mention something racial in their comment, and it's just like, what the heck? It was on Twitter. So carrying some of that over into this other thing, I was like, okay, be prepared. I was already prepared to see stuff that was like, what has nothing to do with nothing? What is wrong? Outright flat wrong? Did they watch the video? And they were just commenting on the video of this Wall Street Journal video, and they were not watching the video. And it's like, based on that, you didn't even watch this video. Like, they just said all this other stuff altogether. So, I had said to someone, oh, I see. I said, just change my skin color to white with technology and science and my genetics, and I will somehow be seen as treated better, judgment better, and just somehow be automatically better as a human being because I'll be genetically white. And, they actually responded no, but it wasn't an obviously serious thing. There was actual sarcasm that came with that, but they took me very seriously. So I responded back, and then I responded back and said, fact out, you didn't really get this answer. And I probably should change that comment and say, hey, this is what I meant. This is a little bit sarcastic, but it's sarcastic because it's a little bit true in a sense. Especially when you have like a black female with a bachelor's degree that can earn less typically than a white male with a high school diploma. And, these statistics, their census numbers, they're available online and all this other stuff. And it's really harsh numbers. I mean, the conviction rates, and it's not like you're going, oh, no, I'm not talking about the quantity. I'm not talking about the proportion. I'm talking about the percentage of who's going to have a good attorney, who's going to get them off, and their conviction rates percentage-wise, the first time they were convicted versus the second time they were convicted, or second time they were up for trial and stuff like that. If a white person's up, they're most likely less chance of being convicted versus a white person. That sounds absolutely horrible, but that is percentage-wise. And people think, oh, it's just this it's the incarceration rate of them. So if you have 100 white people versus 100 black people, the black people are being incarcerated more than the white people, arrested more and stuff like that. And it's just like, what the heck? And it's not an equal justice system. And people are like, it should be equal across, rich people versus poor people, right? Rich people not serving time and stuff like that. But it's not being poor people. That's why you saw so many people during the OJ trial, which is a huge trigger for y'all. So warning, sorry I didn't warn you beforehand. But that's why so many black people, I was in middle school at the time, but I've seen videos of them cheering, and you see white people just so upset. And I don't even think that black people even care that he got off. Do you understand that? Because he was like, here's a system that you created, that you have allowed white people to get away with under your duress and under your opportunity for years. And here's a person that could afford to do the same thing, and now you throw a hissy fit finally. If he can't do it, then all those other white people that have been getting away with it shouldn't get to do it either. And that sounds really harsh. And they're like, yeah, but still it doesn't make it any better that OJ got off. Well, you're still not seeing the point if you're just sticking on OJ, because OJ is just one person compared to all the other millions of white people. You sort of like me saying, okay, there's millions of OJs, and there was just this one white person that got off. And I started saying, well, that one white person got off because they just da 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 da. And you said, oh, there's millions of OJs over there. That didn't make any sense, you see. So anyway, it's so frustrating. I didn't want to have another racial video. My very first video was a racist video, about racial and finances, and how it affects finances, and how this affects finances. It is so detrimental. I mean, there's already so much stuff that goes into the interline. There's always these nimyas, not in my backyards. The only places that the subsidized housing exists where it might be in a white backyard is because before it was probably segregated and it was whites only. And then they were like, oh, well, blacks are the only ones that need it now. Not blacks, not really, but minorities need it mostly, and so let's move them in. We'll integrate them and stuff like that. But the laws and so on and so forth. So anyway, okay. So I have to figure out a title for this video. Just response to the Wall Street Journal video. You can check it out. I'm gonna see if I can link it up, or how I can put it as a response. So, peace out. Thank you for your time. Subscribe, like, comment. All right, bye.